You guys know Sondors, right? They began as an e-bike company, but they've since moved into light electric motorcycles as well as e-bikes with the all-popular metacycle. This was all the rage about a year ago, and it's still one of the best electric motorcycles you can buy today. It's powered by a huge hub motor, 14.5 kilowatts peak power. The battery is 72 volts, pretty large capacity of 4,000 watt hours. And that move from e-bikes to motorcycle was so successful that now a bunch of companies are starting to do that, including Super 73 with their upcoming CX-1 model. But the reason why I'm talking about them today in this video is because Sondors just announced a brand new, I guess you can call it, electric motorcycle. And it shares a lot of DNA with the metacycle, although it has very key differences. There's actually two models. So there's the MetaBeast and the MetaBeast X. There's not that much different between the two. The X is just a souped up, more powerful version of the basic MetaBeast. And these bikes, unlike the metacycle, what makes them different is that these are off-road oriented. They're essentially dirt bikes, which is very interesting. The electric dirt bike space is starting to get really crowded all of a sudden. Kind of unfortunate because I just made a video going over all the best electric dirt bikes of 2023, and the video is already starting to get outdated. It just goes to show how fast this market is evolving, and I'm probably going to have to update that video before this year is over. So yeah, the MetaBeast and the MetaBeast X are the latest additions to this field, and let's quickly go over the specs, beginning with the MetaBeast. So right now you can actually pre-order the bike for a discount of just $3,000. Normally it's going to cost $4,500. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same price as the new Talaria Sting R and the Suron Light B. The power isn't what makes this bike special. It's a pretty normal 6 kilowatts. But the battery, finally by default we have an electric dirt bike with a 72 volt battery. So it's 72 volts, 30 amp hours. So it's not a huge capacity, but I do like to see that it's a high voltage battery. That definitely makes this different than the Talaria and the Suron Light B. That higher voltage is probably responsible for the higher top speed. They have it at 50 miles per hour, so it's certainly a very capable dirt bike. And the size of the bike is also pretty familiar. The weight is 123 pounds for this model. So that's that model. The Metacycle Beast X is much more powerful. It's even more powerful than the Suron Ultra, but it comes in at a higher price tag as well. So right now it does have a similar pre-order discount of $6,500, although normally it's going to be $8,000 this model. But you get a ton more. So the voltage here is 96 volts. So yeah, this is going to be a very peppy, energetic system. The battery itself is also a lot larger at 55 amp hours of capacity. The motor is rated for 18 kilowatts, a top speed of 75 miles per hour, and the whole package is significantly heavier at 200 pounds. Now, I don't think either of these two bikes can be registered and street legal. Just looking at the press images, I don't see the necessary turn signals and the other stuff that would make it street legal. And if that remains the case up until launch date, that will be unfortunate, because I do not think you can get away with riding this 200-pound, 18 kilowatt power dirt bike on the street. But if the rollout of these bikes is anything like the metacycle, a few things are going to happen. So one, the metacycle was delayed by a super long time. I think the scheduled launch date for these is October of this year, so that might be very optimistic. Also with the metacycle, a lot of the specs and features ended up changing from the announcement to the actual deliveries. One of the things that comes to mind that changed with the metacycle from launch to actually shipping is the advertised weight of the bike. So initially they claimed like just over 200 pounds, but when it shipped it was 300 pounds. And maybe that's why there's not too many images and zero videos of the bike published yet. Things are probably going to change on it, both cosmetically and physically. But looking at the images we do have, I see a lot of similarities in the design language between this and the original metacycle. Of course, the metacycle is an on-road machine. These are off-road dirt bikes. But if you take a closer look at like the frame, it shares a very similar aluminum unibody design. The battery is in almost the same location, which would indicate to me that much like the metacycle, it is a non-removable battery. But again, that remains to be seen. And because of the similar frame, the seat also looks to be probably the same as the metacycle, which isn't good. That was one of the consistent complaints I've heard about the metacycle. It has one of the most uncomfortable, thinnest seats of any motorcycle ever. And unfortunately, the seat on these new bikes looks very similar based off of the renders. Now, if you guys want my humble opinion here, I like to see more companies competing in this light electric dirt bike space. I'm very excited to see where it goes in the future. It used to just be the Sur-Ron, then we got the Talaria, more recently the Talaria R, which is way more competitive with the Sur-Ron. In fact, I think it's better than the Sur-Ron in almost every single way. But even aside from just those two players, we also have the newly announced Raw Mantis. Don't forget about that bike. That's in the same exact price range. The power is actually 7,500 watts, a similar 60-volt battery. It's another very compelling choice in this space. And soon we're going to have the MetaBeast. I think the biggest advantage the MetaBeast is going to have over the existing competition is the 72-volt battery. That's a very nice feature. I wish every bike in this class was 72 volts. Aesthetically, I think the bike is very attractive. There's nothing immediately that offends me, which is good. My only points of concern are those features that it shares with the metacycle. So the battery, I hope it's removable. And the seat, they should really look into upgrading that so it's actually comfortable. And then the other model, the MetaBeast X, that one's hard to give an opinion on. It doesn't really have much competition. It's 96 volts, a ton of power, not street legal. So I don't have an opinion on that bike yet, but I am excited to see more information about it. Of course, if you guys have any thoughts on these, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing. It greatly benefits the channel. I appreciate it. It strokes my ego as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.